We start the day typically kickboxing in the morning for an hour.
Wow, okay.
He's fairly accomplished. I can take him, but he would probably say the same thing.
What has Fire and Ash unlocked in you this time around, coming back to her?
Oh gosh, it's the revelation that your children can be also your wisest teachers. You know, the Sully kids teach their parents and Fire and Ash so much about resilience and sticking together and perseverance and love, unconditional love. And that is coming in a time where Jake and Neytiri are beginning to question everything after experiencing such unimaginable loss.
Yeah.
And so... And it's funny because I feel like Neytiri and I, in some ways, not in all, but we've lived parallel lives where, you know, it's like you're this rebel and you're completely fearless, and then and you don't want to conform to a path that has been defined before you. That was Neytiri in the very first installment when you meet them. And then in Way of Water, she's connected to Awa in such a way through birth, you know, through becoming a mother and understanding unconditional love, that even when your kids challenge you and they go, you know, they're opposite ways from you, you still have to find a way to love you. And Awa practices that unconditional love for us. So her faith is solid, but then in Fire and Ash, her faith wavers, and that to me is not familiar territory. But I'm happy that through my empathetic sort of abilities, I'm able to identify with her and provide some type of compassion and be able to connect with people through those performances and those different milestones of Neytiri's life.
Oh, I feel like it was such a beautiful performance. I
Thank
mean,
you.
you watch it and you're like, tugs on your heartstrings. You're sad, you're mourning, but you're also like, she can do it. She comes back. She finds her fire.
Yeah.
So let's talk fire. Oona, you are the new big bad fiery baddie.
Yeah.
I mean, so what is it like to
Show up.
and how does she separate herself from other villains we've seen in previous movies?
Well, I think that it's almost easier to connect with Varang because we love the Na'vi so much.
Yeah.
And we just want we just want her to be good, you know? It's like but she's had this horrendous trauma happen in her land and this traumatic event. And so she's dealt with it in the best way that she knows how, and she's led her people in the way that was the right thing to do at the time for her, the way that she saw it. And she has such power of conviction and so much willpower. But there's still like this broken piece inside of her. And I feel like at every moment we can see that because we also see her side by side with Neytiri and the wonderful possibility of what being Na'vi can be. So I feel like that place within us can get like softened so we can see her through the eyes of compassion more, which hopefully will help us see us, you know, everybody through the eyes of compassion more.
I have questions after seeing the third one, so I'm like, I have so many questions about storylines, so I'm looking forward to more storylines, and we'll leave it there for no spoilers. But Zoe, James has made you do some really wild things in this franchise. I mean, from performance capture to crazy underwater stuff that we know it's not the most comfortable. And now you're playing with fire, literally. So what intense skills challenged you the most during this installment?
It's loss.
Yeah.
I think that was the one skill that I just did not want to step into. I did not want to acquire. I didn't want to work with, and that was a hard scene for us, and not just for Sam and I, but it was also a hard scene for Jim because Jim is a father as well, and it's definitely not a thing that he wanted to go through, you know, and we just had endless conversations around that, and we had ideas on how we think we should mourn.
Yeah.
And I think that at one point I did sort of, you know, talk to him, and I said, I just don't think I would be in my head at all. I think that the women that I've ever witnessed losing or bearing a child make no sense. they're just making guttural noises, and they're just shells of who they are, and I can only play that because that's what I've seen. And I remember he was like, well, then go with that, kiddo. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Feeling love again. That was that thing for Neytiri. She had lost so much love, and she was beginning to calcify her rage, and that's dangerous for her. And I think that Jake begins to see that, and I allowed myself to feel that anger so that obviously she can be able to fight for wrong.
Wait, so I have to actually ask this because I think this is so fun. In honor of Avatar: Fire and Ash, who in the cast, including James, is most likely to get in a heated debate?
Of anything? Of any...
Of
Jim,
any sort,
what are you
even
talking
something
about?
silly, even silly.
Jim.
Jim? Yeah,
I think so. Are you kidding me? What did he
He
say?
claimed himself too.
Yes!
Yeah. He's like, we do it like all day, every day on set.
All day. We come super short. Like, well, he's the thing. He's an extremely curious person.
Yeah.
And he's relentless. So when he's curious about something, he needs to explore it until he has it figured out. Or at least it's, even though it's a to be continued conversation, but at least let's cover enough to understand something. And that is very encouraging. But nobody has his stamina.
So how is this film and the introduction of the new character Varang going to take the Sully family forward?
Oh well, now you're talking about if we get to make more movies.
Yeah,
right?
but or just how is it taking their story?
Oh, you're talking about within
just
Fire and Ash.
Well,
within Fire and Ash, they're reeling from this horrible thing that happened in movie 2, the loss of their eldest son. So, wanting to deal truthfully with human emotion and human psychology, even the most beautiful love story in the world could be challenged by that.
Yeah.
And the best family in the world, which the Sullys aren't, could be challenged by that. And so it's dealing with these themes of conflict and dysfunction within a family, but how ultimately it's their superpower.
Right.
It's their strength, right? And I think people can relate to that. And I'm processing some of my own stuff as a father of 5, and having been married for 25 years, and having been one of 5 kids, and my sort of teenage angst and not being seen, and my father issues and all that. So this was just an opportunity for me to just kind of write what I had experienced, but just displace it all, 4.6 light years away to another planet.
Well, it's extremely relatable, a lot of these human stories that we can connect to.
Right, but isn't that the key? I think, look, science fiction could go one of 2 ways. You could do an amazing film like Arrival, where the aliens are so strange that we can't even comprehend physics and reality the way they are. Or in this case, I think of it more of a fantasy and science fiction clothing, if you will, where they're very relatable like us, and we see our better selves reflected in the Na'vi, and our worst selves reflected in the sort of greedy corporate types that are coming to mess with their world.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's humanity. It's like it's all the inner outer demons
now
that
you
we all...
keep touching your tummy. Do we have an onboard?
Yes, we've got an onboard, 30 weeks pregnant. So
okay, so you must have.
I got some good movement last night in the movie.
You got a little tense during the birthing scene.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the birthing scene.
Well, let us pray that for you it doesn't happen in the middle of a battlefield.
I would pray too. Okay, well, I want to talk to you about. Kate Winslet says technology is finally catching up with your brain. So, we've gotten to see the incredible work that you do with performance capture. So how fun is it kind of making the spectacle of these movies bigger and better each time?
Yeah.
And was there something you weren't able to do that you're hoping you can do? Technology will catch up with your brain.
We can do pretty much anything right now. So it's a question of challenging our imaginations to always expand the playing field, if you will. So new cultures, new creatures, new scenery, all of those things, which I think people expect, and good. I'm happy to supply that. You keep expecting it, and I'll keep doing it, because we enjoy that part of the work. But I think on this one, we were a little more focused on the characters and their emotions and their psychology than historically we have been. There's more screen time devoted to that. I mean, yes, of course, it's a big sprawling saga, it's a big adventure, but there's also some darker places emotionally, I think, for the characters.
Yeah.
So everybody always asks me about the technology, but they don't really understand that the part with the actors is a very pure thing. You know, there almost is no technology.
Right.
So here's the irony. So people think of an Avatar film as being more technical, when in reality, the average movie that you see is actually more technical because it's using cameras and dolly track and cranes and all that sort of thing. And that's all getting in the way of the director-actor workspace, right? I take all that stuff and I shove it out to a later part of the process, and I keep it very clean with the actors, and we just come in. We kind of think of it as play or as rehearsal, except it's rehearsal that's also the real thing. And then 18 months of that to do movie 2 and movie 3, 18 months of capture with the actors, and then Sigourney and Zoe Saldaña, Sam Worthington, and Kate Winslet, and everybody, they go off to their other projects, and then I work on the cinematography for the next couple of years.
Right. Yeah.
So it kind of separates it into pure acting and pure cinematography in a strange way. Yeah. So the actors love it.
I bet they get to use their emotion and do their
scenes.
Do
you act?
And no, I don't.
But if you did, you would know. You'd know how wonderful it is to literally just be with other actors all day. And just exploring your own mind and your own heart.
Well, in honor of Avatar: Fire and Ash, who on the cast, including yourself, is most likely to get in a heated debate, even about something silly?
Stephen Lang and I love to debate. We start the day typically kickboxing in the morning for an hour.
Wow, okay.
He's fairly accomplished. I can take him, but he would probably say the same thing. And then it's just a running gun battle of words all day long. And he loves it, and I love it. It's a very different relationship. Now, with the kids, obviously it's different. Now, Jack, when I was shooting with Jack for a year in live action, which was done later in New Zealand, he was there in the performance capture, but he also had to perform the vast majority of his part for live action. Jack hung out with the stunt guys, so then he got very physically combative. So then he and I would spar a little bit too, but it's all done in a loving context. And Jack just saw the film last night, and I hope this isn't oversharing, but he was very tearful about the fact that such a big part of his childhood was with this Avatar family, and he was just so grateful for that experience. And young Trinity, who was 7 when she started with us, she's now 16. She started crying right beside Jack and said, "That was a part of my childhood too." And so anyway, there's this crazy family vibe. So it's a family movie about a family, and then there's a kind of family vibe behind the scenes as well.